मानस भजरे गुरुचरणं दुस्तर भवसागरतरणं मानस भजरे गुरुचरणं दुस्तर भवसागरतरणम्.
Om Shri Sai Ram. With much love and gratitude, I offer myself at the lotus feet of the glue that binds us all, the Paripurna avatar of the Kali age, His divine worship, Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba. Respected elders and my dear sisters and brothers and Sai youth and children, good morning and Sai Ram to all of you once again. I thought I will focus this morning on our fixation on this theme of Manasa Bhajare Guru Charanam. So what is the big deal about the Charanams, the lotus feet of the Lord, that we worship so often, and we are trying to use this weekend to strengthen our connection with these lotus feet. So in the Indian tradition, as in many others, feet are the most important, in many ways, part of the human anatomy, because even to stand before you, I am firmly placing both my feet on the ground. My feet hold the weight of my entire body and also literally keep me grounded, which is very essential. And the feet have a very strong connection with the heart. Now, throughout ages, Treta, Dwapar, later, sooner, we find that whenever a devotee tries to connect with the Lord, whenever we seek refuge in the Lord, where do we bow to? The lotus feet. So in the Treta Yuga, I will be asking you questions, by the way, because I heard you had a lot of carbohydrates for breakfast, so I don't like a sleeping audience. I, on the other hand, had a doctor-prepared, low-carb, high-protein rolled oats, thanks to Dr. Rupa. Very low-calorie, so very healthy, no cholesterol. So to this audience, my question is, do you remember when Lord Rama walked into a hermitage in Treta Yuga, and there was what appeared to be a huge rock, and his foot touched it? Who emerged? Very good answer. Ladies, advantage ladies, Ahalya, yes. And may I also remind you that once in Dwapara, a desolate, desperate father was trying to take his little baby across a river that was in full spate. And the waters of that river kept rising, and the little baby held out its little foot from a basket on the father's head and touched the river. Which river was it? Okay, our brothers are doing better. So, Krishna Avatar, the Yamuna River. We also know the story of Mary Magdalene when she sought refuge at the lotus feet of Lord Jesus Christ. And in the Shirdi Avatar, there are so many instances of devotees finding everything they are seeking at the lotus feet of Shirdi Baba. One is the story of Das Ganu, who wanted to go on a pilgrimage to Prayag, where all the holy rivers converge, because that is considered to be a very sacred spot. So he went to Shirdi Baba to take permission to step away from Shirdi and to go to Prayag. And Shirdi Baba told him, where is the need? What is the necessity? Everything is here. Like, he spoke very cryptically. Shirdi Baba would just throw certain sentences, and lo and behold, Das Ganu wanted to take namaskar before going. As he bowed down, the sacred water of the sacred rivers flowed from the lotus feet of Shirdi Baba. Again, there are many instances of people who came to Shirdi Baba with worldly request. There was a couple that was very desolate. They had lost their son, their child, and I think nothing can be sadder for a parent than loss of a child. And they came to Baba and they cried their hearts out and they held on to his lotus feet. Baba was so moved. He said, "You've held on to my feet. These feet are holy and old. Be fearless, worry not. The same child you lost, I will now make sure reincarnates again as your next child. And there is a child that will come to you very soon." So a year later, they were blessed with another baby, and they came to get blessings from Baba. Now you heard Bishu talk about the person who had 49 Padma Namaskars and the 50th he got in a dream. I was in an interview in the year 1985 with Bhagwan, with the batch of girls who were all graduating along with me. And one of the sisters in that interview, who still works in Prasanthi Nilayam just like me, she asked Swami that, "Swami, many times we get your dreams. Are those dreams real? We're thinking so much about you, we don't know like which state of consciousness is real or which is imaginary." Then Swami asked a question. Bhagwan said, "Is your dream clear or is it hazy and all muffled? If it is a clear dream, everything I speak to you is as valid as it is when I talk to you right now in this interview room." And Bhagwan specifically mentioned, if I give you a Pad Namaskar in your dream, I am giving you exactly the same grace that I am giving you when you take Pad Namaskar in this interview room. There is no difference. But if the dream is all hazy, crazy, unclear, it's just flatulence. You have eaten some beans for dinner. So that was something that Swami made fun of, and he made it very clear that the grace he grants. And then Swami also clarified, you cannot dream of me because you're thinking of me. For that matter, all of us think of Swami when we go to bed. We chant Karacharana Kritambak, we offer everything at his lotus feet. But we don't dream of Swami every day. He chooses when to come in our dream. But as Sai devotees, it's such a beautiful culture that we begin everything we start by taking blessings at his lotus feet, and whatever we do, we offer at his lotus feet as our act of worship. So for us, everything begins and concludes at the lotus feet. So I just want to share a couple of very quick experiences of my own. In one case, when the year I joined Swami's college, I was a student of this program called GCE O-Level, A-Level, University of Cambridge. I studied in Singapore prior to joining Bhagwan's College at Anantapur. And I was selected or earmarked as one of the children from my college who could apply for what is known as an Oxbridge combined examination. So if you qualify, you can study either at Oxford or at Cambridge. But I chose to come to Prasanthi Nilayam with Swami's grace, good thinking. And my parents agreed to the idea. And with Swami's grace and a lot of struggle, believe you me, we managed to get admission in Swami's college. My only interest to come was Swami. If I wanted to study and excel academically, I had many opportunities at Cambridge and Oxford, I'm sure, and elsewhere too. But I came to Swami's college with zero focus on my studies and complete focus only on Bhagwan, because I thought, God is on earth, I might as well make the most of this opportunity. And I just wanted namaskars and Swami to look at me, Swami to talk to me, touch him. I did all kinds of crazy things. He called me Pagal many times during this time. And I didn't mind. I felt so happy. I would rather be mad for God than mad for the world. So, thank God I had my priorities right at an early age, I say. So it went on, and I was so looking forward to my first birthday with Swami, because Swami Bhagwan would bless the girls whose birthday it was. We could offer a tray with cloves and supari and some betel leaf and so on. So I was excitedly waiting. I only joined the college for this kind of chances. Zero focus on what subjects, what is my major, nothing. It never even crossed my mind. I took the easiest path of least resistance when it came to academics. So here I am waiting, and as luck would have it, I built up such a hype and excitement. First birthday, what am I going to wear? How am I going to go? Few days prior, Swami went away to Vrindavan. So we couldn't go to Puttaparthi. I cannot tell you how crestfallen I was. It was like my whole life is when you're like 17, 18, you can be slightly more dramatic. My whole life is a failure. It's a big flop show. I misread everything. Swami doesn't love me. And I think he's angry with me. I'm not worthy of his love. And I was so sad. But the hostel is full of so much love. Everybody in the hostel came and gave me a gift because they wanted to make up for my angst. I was acting up. So people gave me gifts, whatever they had. Someone said, Swami gave this vibhuti to my father. I'll give you the special vibhuti package. Somebody gave me a pair of earrings. Somebody gave me something else. And I was very happy to receive them. But nothing can replace getting Padnamaskar from Swami and getting blessed on your birthday. That was the only reason I traveled, left my family to be in that hostel in 44 degrees, no fan at that time, okay? So that was a very big transition, coming from a very comfortable home. So I was like, what am I going to do? And I cried myself to sleep. And just before Suprabhatam the next morning, I dreamt that I am running through a maze of rooms. And finally, I reached a last room where Bhagwan is standing alone. I'm like, thank you, Swami, I found you. And I just want to grab him forever and never let go of him. So I fall at his lotus feet, and all I saw was a pair of velvety blue feet crisscrossed. And that's what I woke up with the sweet taste in my mouth that finally I found in my corner. And I didn't consciously think of blue feet, but it was a crisscrossed pair of soft velvety feet that I could feel, and that's the namaskar I got. So Swami's delays are not his denials. He has something better, different, more suitable in store for us. So I'll fast forward to about 4 years ago, maybe 5. I had a surgery at the Sri Satya Sai Super Specialty Hospital in Whitefield. Everything went well, no post-operation complications, till I came to work, and about a month later, I had a major complication. I was in my office, and I was in agony. So a couple of my colleagues, another young colleague, they helped me down, and I was rushed to emergency in General Hospital, and then rushed to Super in Puttaparthi, and they called the surgeon from Whitefield who had operated on me. She rushed back, and I had to undergo another major surgery within minutes. And we have such an amazing healthcare system. I tell you, 1 minute I'm in general, 1 minute I'm in an ambulance, next minute I'm in the super, next minute I'm back in general in the operating theater where everything is ready, and suddenly I recognize a pair of eyes because my doctor from Whitefield was masked. I'm like, doctor, what are you doing here? She said, oh, you're going to be fine, don't worry. Next thing I know, there's an epidural, and then everything is bliss. So, here I had this operation, and then I was recovering happily. And then I had this episode where I suddenly realized my husband was chatting with me. I was in the ward. All of a sudden, I had a major sinking. And I told him, I think something is happening. I think this bed is falling, or I'm falling, or apocalypse. So, I started saying, Om Sai Ram, Om Sai Ram. So the nurse's station was like 5 feet away from me. She came running, they called the doctor, and I have no idea about the mayhem and the excitement I created. All I know is that I was sinking, and I had no control or grip of the bed, and I was fading out. Now, this is my moment. I'm very conscious. I want to have a merger, okay? Consummation of my life. This is my life's goal. I'm like, how do I make sure I'm focused on Swami? What if I'm leaving the body? So I'm trying to say, Om Shri Sai Ram, Om Shri Sai Ram. But as I'm saying, sometimes I'm saying Om, sometimes Sai Ram. I'm not doing it coherently. Then I remembered what Phyllis Crystal said. She said, if you cannot immediately recall Swami's beautiful form, think of the robe. So I started thinking of Swami's orange robe, Om Sai Ram, Om Sai Ram. But it was such a struggle because my mind was switching off. I was losing consciousness. And then suddenly, and somebody was pulling my arm, somebody was drawing blood. I don't know what they were doing. I couldn't sort of grasp, right? Because I wasn't all there. And all of a sudden, everything became calm. And it was like in front of my mind, there was a PowerPoint presentation slide. And all I saw on it, crisscrossed, velvet blue lotus feet. And I was so calm. And I was like, oh, I'm home. Because we can only be home at the lotus feet of our Lord, where all our anxieties, fears, complexes, phobias, concerns melt away. And after that, I revived, and I'm here. And the funny thing is, I told the doctor next day, yeah, you know what happened yesterday for 5 minutes? I had an episode. She said, 5 minutes? We were all running around for like 90 minutes. But for me, I lost track of time when I was going down. So I guess the purpose of life is to make sure that on your screensaver, there is that mental screensaver, there is a pair of lotus feet that everything begins from, everything is offered to, directed at, and that is where we seek refuge and surrender to. If we hold on to his lotus feet, the world can turn topsy-turvy, the world can turn against us. But if we have Swami's lotus feet well within our grip, we are safe, we are okay, whether we are in this body or not. For that, it's not going to come to us like this. It requires rigor, discipline, consistency, persistence. Even to succeed in a small examination, we have to follow the same rules. To succeed in the exam of life, to achieve the purpose of life, the same discipline is required. Prasanthi Nilayam is our home. And yesterday when I spoke to you about the misery, the angst, the pain that all of us suffered after Mahasamadhi, I told you on that, I think 9th July 2011, when they unveiled the Mahasamadhi and they lifted that ceremonial big lamp with a million lights and they waved it. That day, I knew personally that I was witnessing the holiest shrine on the face of the planet, the Mahasanidhi of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. And today, each one of us, as we inch towards that holy shrine and we place our forehead on its cool marble, we get the same grace that we would when we took Pad Namaskar of our beloved Lord. Satisfying, fulfilling, 108% grace Pad Namaskars. May we always stay yoked by this umbilical cord that we have to Prasanthi. May we always find refuge at his lotus feet and always, always begin, work through and conclude everything with those beautiful pair of velvety lotus feet as the focus of our lives. I have 2 minutes. Arjuna, when he had to conquer, when he had to win Draupadi, he had to shoot into the eye of a fish that was swirling in a pool of water by looking at its reflection in an overhead mirror. He focused and he focused and he focused till he only saw the black of the eye, not the water, not the current, not the fish, nothing else. With the focus of Arjuna, if we stay completely focused on that pair of lotus feet, like the black of the eye that Arjuna saw, I think we're on to something. Thank you so much. Sai Ram.